And good morning to those of you in Australia, New Zealand. Good evening to those in Canada and the US. My name is Michael Haynes, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Thru in B2B. I'm Michael Haynes, business growth specialist for small, medium accounting, tech, and law firms. This show, Breaking Thru in B2B, is all about providing insights, education, and inspiration to leaders of small and medium accounting, technology, and law firms. Very excited for today's guest. Today's guest is Wendy Lloyd Curley, author, keynote speaker, and our topic today, which is going to be the first of a three-part series with Wendy. We're going to be talking about strategic networking. Wendy, good morning. How are you? So good to see you. So good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Michael. It's great to be here. It is a bright and there's no rain this morning. I'm a very happy camper.
Yes, it is very nice and sunny here in Sydney, so it is fantastic. Folks, those that are watching live, please do in the comments say hello, where you're dialing in from, and of course, if you have any questions, and a hello to those of you watching the recording. Wendy, really looking forward to this conversation. You know, strategic networking, it's so vital, it's so important. You know, as we've had discussions, you know, I do a lot of work with accounting, technology, law firms on building their overarching go-to-market strategy so that they can acquire and retain and grow those clients that they're after. And the world of professional services, those that are buying our advisory services, the way in which our clients and prospects are doing their shopping or buying has really changed, because it's not just about the expertise and what you can provide through what I call advice, insights, and recommendations. They're tapping into with whom can help them solve their problem. So a key part of go-to-market is all about, you know, having the visibility in the right channels with the right people, associating with those whom our clients and prospects know, like, and trust. So, you know, this whole networking, strategic networking is a vital component, in my view, as part of the go-to-market strategy, which I'm working with clients. So to really kick things off, Wendy, what exactly is strategic networking? Because that is a term I think many folks don't understand, and or it's misunderstood. So, and you know, you being the expert, what is strategic networking?
All right. Well, let's just define networking, because that's what most people do. Networking is going to an event and having a glass of wine or a cup of coffee and talking to people, collecting business cards, perhaps giving out business cards, connecting on LinkedIn, and then leaving and going back to work and doing very little, if nothing, with the connections that were made. There was no pre-thought into going to the event other than signing up and registering. And there is not a lot of post-event. And so the description that most people give it is, I do some networking, but I don't get much out of it. And I would say that the difference between networking and strategic networking is that you're putting effort into it before, during, and after. And therefore, you're able to get results from it. So strategic networking is about having a strategy, having specific people you want to connect with, learning the skills to talk to people about good connections for you, knowing where to network, and then having good follow-up processes and good systems so that you aren't letting the good connections that you make just go away.
Fantastic, Wendy. There is so much to unpack there, which is why, folks, this is actually going to be part one of a three-part series where we're going to be with Wendy on talk about strategic networking. And so in today's episode, want to try and set some of the groundwork and foundation of strategic networking. So Wendy, you've just covered a lot there in that minute. So maybe let's start to unpack. You talk about the importance of having a strategy, and you have a framework. Maybe perhaps we should start there as to what that strategy needs to entail.
Nice. All right. The framework itself is something that I developed in 2020. I really was thinking about what are the key things that people need to know in order to go in and through the flow of strategic networking. And the first element is knowing about yourself, knowing about your business, knowing about what you do well. And this is going to sound like marketing one to some of our visitors, marketing 101. It is marketing 101. You need to define your target market. There are too many people in business who use the word anyone. Anyone needs this service. They're my target market. And that doesn't help me, the listener, think of anybody. I can't find anyone for you, and I can't find someone for you, but I can find a specific person, either by name or by industry or by position or by geography. I need to know who your target market is. And so marketers talk about avatars a lot. I believe strongly in avatars. And I think avatars are good for telling stories.
Okay.
And
Now, Wendy, I'm going to jump in there a little bit just to help give context for our folks who are in the accounting, technology, law firms who are looking to get clients. So within their context, in terms of target market, they need to be thinking about, in terms of their avatar, who is the target decision maker who's going to decide whether or not they're going to be purchasing advisory services, technology strategy services from company X or company Y. So having an understanding of that decision maker who's going to be buying those services, just to give some context for our folks in terms of target market, is very key to really understanding who is that person or persons that we need to be engaging with ultimately to get them to buy our, strategic advisory services, technology services, legal advice, what have you. So I just wanted to put that bit of context around it for our particular audience. Thank you.
Well, that's really good too. And I think that it also pays to think about the kind of companies that they work in. So, Michael, you're very specific about the professional services industries that you target and haven't shared with us exactly who those decision makers are. So it's important to know both.
Yes.
You need to know the industries that you really want to target, the geographies you really want to focus on, the size of the companies that are your sweet spot for delivery. Are you looking for startups? Are you looking for corporates that are publicly listed? Or are you looking for someone in between? Do you excel in a specific industry when you're delivering your services? Have you really proven yourself in the mining industry or in the hospitality industry or in FMCG? These are really important elements. And then you can start to talk about who the decision makers are within those elements. But I think people need a funnel. People need to see a funnel of context in order to get to the decision maker.
Absolutely. And the reason why I was jumping in about the decision maker is because it's often they don't do that funneling down enough. A lot of the clients I deal with, they can tell me who is their industry. Not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, they know their industries, they know their markets, they know the size of the company, but drilling down further is often something that they have a problem with. But you're quite right. It's having that clarity on all those dimensions and drilling down is so important.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So target market is one element that you need to bring into the game. The second one is what's unique about you. So the target market's who you serve well. And then the you is the unique selling proposition. And that is marketing jargon, if I've ever heard it. I call it the wow factor. And it's when you are able to be in a discussion with someone and they ask what you do, and you're able to answer it in a way that makes them go, wow, I never thought about it that way. Or, wow, that's a really specific group. Tell me more. Or, wow, how did you develop that unique system or methodology that you work with? You're looking for them to be excited a bit enough to say, wow. And that's why I call it the wow factor. And, every company has that, but not every company learns how to deliver that. And every company does have something that is truly unique about them, and they need to develop that. And it needs to be something unique that's meaningful to the end user, meaningful to them. So, well, what's unique about my company is me. Well, they don't know me yet, and I'm in a networking environment, and they don't know whether they trust me or whether that's of value to them at all. So you need to really find something that's inherent in the product or service that you deliver that will make people say, wow.
Okay, so you're talking target market, wow factor. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so that's step one of the strategy. Step
Right.
one is to really identify and hone those, and to continue to evolve them as you get, trial and error, as you get good research. When people say wow, think, oh, wait, Wendy said the wow factor, that I just touched a nerve. I need to explore that. So you can develop that over time.
Yeah.
The next bit of homework, and it is homework, and as I said, it's strategic networking. It's not
Yeah.
just networking. So the next bit of homework is identifying, in order to deliver good services and in order to get more connections in your network who can grow your business, you need to know who you want to meet. And this is where the real meat of the strategic networking sandwich
So
is.
now, Wendy, I'm gonna jump in there in terms of who you want to meet. Can you, for our audience, because I just had a meeting with a client, had a strategy session with a client, and there is a view that networking equates, it's just about referrals. Talk about, what some of the purposes of, in terms of who we want to be meeting. What are some of the reasons it might be that we may want to be meeting? Referrals being the obvious one, introductions to prospective clients. But could you talk about, in terms of with whom, what are the kinds of people we may want to be thinking about as professional service firm leaders that we may want to be meeting, and why they may be beneficial for us?
Well, let's think of it without the context of my framework. You want to meet people who are going to make you better at what you do,
Yeah.
or you want to meet people who are going to be able to introduce you to people who will make you better than you are, or you want to meet people who are going to be able to recommend your business to others because they have a natural ability to do that because they have the same target market as you.
Yeah.
Or you're going to want to meet people who need your services. That's
Yeah.
amazing. There are many reasons why you want to meet people and expand your network.
Work.
And
Right.
I think that referrals alone is certainly not all of them. It would be amazing to walk into a room and be able to have them all be your target market. And in that case, I would hope that instead of being a networking opportunity, it was a presentation opportunity so that you got to present in front of all of those people and actually share with them the sales pitch and funnel that you use. But if you walk into a networking group and you don't know the people who are there, or you know some of them but not all of them, the benefits that you can get are much more than just the referrals that are available in the room. But the relationships start there.
So I think you've really hit something that's very important, Wendy, is that networking, strategic networking, is not just about referrals. It is about those that can provide us with, help us do our jobs better, maybe able to help us understand the markets, the organizations that we're dealing with. And that is so important for us as professional service leaders, because our clients, our prospects, expect us to have that depth of understanding, not just in terms of what we do, but also the industry and geographies that we operate. So, networking can help us with that. You've brought out that networking can help us with introductions, which can be to potentially other people, other knowledge specialists, other service providers, which may be able to help us and or help our clients, as well as introductions to opportunities to speak, introductions, which could be opportunities to clients. So there's a number of things that we as professional service folks need to be thinking broadly about in strategic networking as to the kinds of insights, introductions, intel that we may be seeking, that we should be taking account when we're thinking about strategic networking. So I think that's awesome.
There's one that I didn't include in that list, and it's also having access to people who might be able to make you a better service provider. Meaning, your clients need services and you don't provide all of them unless you are 100% vertically integrated. And who can afford to be that when you're a small to medium sized provider? you do want to specialize in what you do. And so therefore you need a good list of people who you can trust to recommend to your clients when they need ongoing services, when they need services that are going to help them to be able to deliver their business. And then you'll be known as a good connector. I think that's where my strength came from, was in being able to help people connect to the right people. And that's why.
And Wendy, what you've touched on though is something that is you are amazing at, and I think that is one of your strengths. But that is something that our clients, again and again, I'm really trying to bring this back to, the folks that are watching who are running accounting technology law firms, who are providing those legal services. They're looking for service providers that can be the connector to their peers, to experts, to other providers. And that ability to make those introductions, those connections, is extremely powerful and it's extremely valuable. And it's something that they're actively seeking. I've seen it documented in the research. It's part of the reason why the likes of masterminds, advisory groups, and so forth are so popular, and people will spend lots of money for, because it's the ability to connect and be connected. So building your network and being able to be that connector, it is something that is extremely powerful, highly valued by our clients and prospects. So we need to be thinking about how we can facilitate our capabilities to do so, because it's something that's highly valued by our clients and prospects. So that's really awesome. And this is something that you are truly amazing at doing as well.
Well, just thinking about the three people that might be on the call right now, the IT professionals, the legal professionals, the accounting professionals. If an accountant and an accounting professional who wants to build their business has a great relationship with an IT firm that serves the same people that they want to serve, and has a relationship with a legal firm that serves the same people that they want to serve, then they are able to help each other go around in that circle. So all by itself, if you're an accountant, the people that you would want to meet when you go out networking are IT providers and law firms that actually target the same sort of avatar or target market that you're looking at, the same industries, the same things, because the law firm, their clients are going to need accounting. And if the law firm is seeing that the accounting is struggling within their client system, they're going to be able to recommend your business to their client, and vice versa. So that all by itself, those three people in the professional services realm would be a very, very smart networking target to make. And it takes getting to know, like, and trust those people over time, which is another conversation. But when you're networking, finding them to begin with is where we start that relationship.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Have we gone through all of your steps, Wendy? I know I kind of jumped in there to add some additional context. Have we covered off all of your 4 key steps?
Well, I don't know if we've done the 4 steps, but let me make sure we've done the 5 people that you would want to meet.
Yes.
And we'll start with your competitors. And a lot of people switch off when I say this, but it really does pay when you go to a networking event to know who else is in the room who does what you do, and to go up and say good day, or in the US, say hi, and make sure that you are welcoming them to the venue, asking them if they've been there before, making them feel warm and fuzzy, and finding out more about what they do. Yeah. Chances are they aren't true competitors, and therefore you're able to meet the second type of person, which is a collaborator, someone who you might be able to refer business to. They might do what you do. They might be in accounting, but maybe they only do forensic accounting and your firm doesn't do forensic accounting. Be a great connection to have, because when your clients need that forensic view, you'd be able to possibly recommend them to this person that you just met, as an example. So that's competitors and collaborators. Then there's, of course, people who you can recommend to your clients.
Yeah.
So those are the people who you can give to your clients when your clients have needs. These are people who obviously, when you meet them, you find out what they do and you make sure that they do it well, and you evaluate their ability to fulfill the promise that they have. But once they've gained your trust, you can then, when your clients need their services, recommend them.
Yeah.
That's the third person. Then there are the referral sources. These are people who actually naturally serve your clients before you do, and they would be able to recommend you. So you want to find those people, and you need to make a list of these industries and people, and you will get down to names of people who could easily recommend you if they only knew who you were.
Yeah.
So those are four types of people. And the fifth type is, of course, your target market itself. But when you're networking, my suggestion is that you never sell. That when you meet your target market, you explain to them what you do and who you do it for, and you let them opt in. You let them say, wow, I could use that service. That's something that would really help me. And then you can make the transition from a networking situation into a client and a prospect situation. So those are the five actual people that are in my framework, and that I believe it takes a lot of homework to find out who they are before you ever arrive at a networking event.
Okay, and is really this is all fantastic. One comment I just want to make in terms of those five people with respect to collaborators, you know, uh, we want to be thinking about collaborating in terms of, you know, also ways in which you might want to join forces in terms of co-marketing, cross-promoting content, hosting events. So if you're the IT firm and the accounting firm, and you're both targeting, let's say, mid-market organizations, and you're trying to target C-level execs, you may want to host that executive briefing or a roundtable. So looking for collaborators, how you can join forces to, you know, acquire clients, service and support your clients. We want to be thinking about collaborations from that perspective as well.
That's
Um,
that's right. But can I just add? But you don't want to jump to that offer right away.
oh
You don't
no,
want to
no,
meet
no, no.
someone instantly. So make sure that you're being picky, and that you might talk about strategies you're deploying, and
Yeah.
let them opt into that and say, "Oh, I'd love to get involved with that." And then you can say, "Let's get to know each other. Let's find out more about our businesses and see if
Yeah.
that work." You don't need to jump straight into a relationship in a
Oh,
networking program.
absolutely. And I guess that leads into, I guess, a good area maybe let's start to unpack. You talk a lot about the homework, and I know from reading your book, Stop Wasting Your Time Network, which is a fantastic book. You talk about, you know, doing the homework, the before, during, and after. What is some of the homework that needs to be done to guide some of the thinking that we should be having of knowing we want to be meeting, where we want to be meeting, and how we want to be meeting? What is some of the homework to guide our thinking as who are some of the folks that we want to be seeking out in terms of those different types of potential folks we want to connect with? Can you start to unpack some of the initial steps around some of the thinking in terms of that homework to really guide the thinking?
Sure. Let's think of it this way. Could you create a list of 5 to 10 companies in each of the categories I just mentioned? That would be really good homework to start. So that might be the first step. Can I list 5 of my competitors? Can I list 5 people or businesses that I could collaborate with?
Yeah.
I haven't even met them yet. Just, can you do some research? Could you look for that?
Yeah.
What are the names of companies, of 5 companies that I frequently need to recommend to my clients, or that I would love to be able to recommend to my clients when they have these problems?
Yeah.
Name 5 of those. Who are 5 companies that might be able to recommend me to their clients? 5 company, just company names.
Yeah.
And of course, who are 5 target companies that I would absolutely love to serve? And I know I could serve them. I know they already have a provider. I need to write down who that provider is. I want to find out who my target market is already using. All by itself, you've just made a list of 25 companies, possibly 30 if you've also identified who already serves your target market. And now you can start to do a little bit more. You can get to the second level. And the second level is identifying the decision makers within those, or the people who work in those companies. And it doesn't need to be the decision makers when you're networking. That's the goal at the end. But perhaps you want to say to someone that you've just met, I'm really looking forward to meeting a few people from Dell. I'd like to meet a few people who work at Dell. I've been looking at getting involved with them because I know a lot of my clients need their services or need their products, and I want to be able to facilitate a relationship. You don't happen to know anyone at Dell. Yeah? So how amazing, part of a conversation. And if they do, they do. And if they don't, maybe they know someone who might. Wow. There you go. There's a connection. There's a reason to follow up. There's an introduction you would like to have. And so start with the 25 companies and do them. Just start a list and add to it when you think of them. You start with the companies and then start to get to the names. Maybe do a little bit of internet research or have an admin do some research and say, all right, who's the CEO of all 25 of these companies? Great. It'd be nice for you to be able to say, oh yeah, I've been looking to meet John for years. I've never met him. Do you know him? That's great. Wow, I'd love an introduction. So these are the kind of conversations you can have if you know who you're looking for.
Okay, great. Okay.
If
Awesome. So starting off as step one, and I think perhaps in subsequent episodes we might go in a bit more detail, but starting with that list across those different categories and getting those initial 5 people would be, that is as part of the upfront thinking to really guide how we go about doing our networking will be extremely valuable. Now I know we're coming up to the half-hour point, and I have a question coming through here, Wendy. What are some ways to that can be used beyond traditional methods to help expand your network? So that's, I know we're going to be in a subsequent episode, we're going to delve into the where, but maybe some quick high-level tips in terms of separate and apart from the traditional networking events after 5 drinks, what have you. What are some other ways in which folks can be looking to expand their network? Can you have some quick suggestions, particularly if they've started to do some of this thinking of the kinds of people that they're looking to meet?
Well, to do it quickly, I'll let you know that networking, like at chamber meetings, and chamber meetings can be small and localized or large and more multinational. So there's a lot of different levels of business chambers.
Yep.
And they not only have after hours drinking, but they also do, they have seminars, they have presentations, they have, hypotheticals that they might do. Never miss an opportunity to get there early enough to do the open networking before those events start. Never miss that. So that might be non-traditional. It's not just all about walking around and talking to people. There's a purpose for the event. Industry associations and industry training that you do. A lot of people have continuous professional development requirements, and you can get to meet a lot of your competitors and your possible collaborators at those events. And so attending those, and again, going early enough so that open networking part at the beginning, you can meet some people and you can really establish yourself. You mentioned earlier masterminds. Masterminds or business coaching environments where you are sitting around a boardroom table and helping people develop, asking those people for access to their connections and asking them where they do their networking, because that will expose you to different people than you might find on your own. Oh my goodness, I could talk about that for hours.
Well, no, Wendy, that was fantastic. And folks, we are, this is the first of a 3-part series. In our next part 2, we will be talking about where, and in the third part, how. So we're going to be diving into this. But Wendy, I think you've raised really the golden nugget from my view in terms of how to go about beyond the networking drinks. It is the industry and professional association. Immersing yourself as professional service leaders of accounting, technology, law firms, consulting firms. We need to be immersing ourselves where our clients, where our prospects, where they're going for information, where there are the people with whom they trust. And so those industry and professional associations and those events, which might be panels, briefings, trainings, workshops, going to those events where you can immerse, learn, and start to meet people. So those formal events, that are part and parcel of the industry association, industry and professional association, I think you've nailed that on the head, because that is a critical component of immersing ourselves, and a critical place to be doing the networking. So folks, don't just be thinking about the typical networking drink, but what are those events, which could be roundtables, panels, masterminds, the events themselves, where you can be learning, meeting, and interacting, folks. That is a place. And I tell all of my clients, you should be involved with those industry and professional associations of those key target markets and industries you're currently serving and those that you seek to serve. You have to be immersing yourself within them, because the key to go to market is living in the market. So fantastic. So Wendy, thank you so much for this first dive into some of the foundations of strategic networking. You've given some great insights on, where to be networking, what's some great ways to do some key thinking of, the types of people we want to connect with, and how to start that thinking and process to get started in the whole strategic networking process. Folks, Wendy has a fantastic book here, Stop Wasting Your Time Networking, which goes through the framework. It is really practical. It's fundamental, because establishing those relationships is part and parcel, a key component of our strategic networking for our go-to-market strategies. So Wendy, how can people get in touch with you? How can they get a hold of this book if they want to, before our next episode, if they want to start delving in and learning more about strategic networking?
I think all the people who are on watching this would be on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to hear your thoughts and field any questions that you have. We can address them at our next live, or we could even talk about them offline. But I'm very open, and all my contact details are on LinkedIn. So it'd be great to connect. I'd love it.
Fantastic. And folks, in the recording, I'll definitely be putting in Wendy's contact details. Well, Wendy, thank you so much for part one of our discussion on strategic networking, and looking forward to delving into part two, where we're going to be unpacking a bit more, talking a bit about the where in which we can networking. We said we're going to talk about. And folks, that will be on August 20th for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, Canada and the US, and overseas in Europe, or August 21st for those here in Australia, New Zealand, Asia Pacific. There will be notifications and postings here on LinkedIn prior to that second part two episode. We're really going to unpack in terms of the where we as professional service firm leaders should be doing our strategic networking to drive our business growth. Wendy, thank you so much again. Fantastic, insightful, tons of insight bombs of value there. It's been really great having you. And so folks, thank you, and look forward to seeing you next time here on Breaking Thru B2B. And like I said, be sure to tune in to part two of our discussion with Wendy Lloyd Curley. Wishing you all a great rest of your respective evenings and days. And until next time, bye for now.
Bye for now.